Good. All right, we'll go ahead and get started today, July 7th. Thank you for being here. We'll start with prayer. Please bow your heads and pledge. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we just ask for guidance, direction with this council. We thank you for this village, for its staff, for its residents, and we ask you to just be with us and guide us through our times here within the village of Hicksville. We ask you to be with those who are sick and just heal them and be with their families during their time of healing, and just some of the passings here we've had recently, and be with their families through the time of loss. We ask you to be with our staff again and our military during this time. We thank you for our independence on July 4th that we celebrated here recently. We thank you all for everything you do for our country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You gonna go to the pledge?
Gonna bump me today, or we're gonna have a problem?
All right. First thing on the agenda, we have to have a motion to change the agenda revision.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, appended agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Bailey?
Yeah.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yep.
Miller?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Egley?
Yes.
Thank you. Guests today is Danny Vetter, Jim Schmidt, we got Taylor. You guys want to address council?
Good evening, everyone. Everybody had a good day. So Jim and I are up here to kind of address the water issues that are down there at the splash pad and kind of talk about those a little bit. So our main concern is that we would like to see it fixed correctly. We know at one time, especially on the, if you're facing the left-hand side towards the pickleball and tennis courts, you got all that water running there and the concrete sloping away. I get the reason the concrete slopes away. I know there was a possibility the pool at one time may still be down the road, but that apron there is not wide enough to catch the water and adjust that. Our concern is that we'd like to see it so it looks professional and it's fixed and it's done correctly. In my humble opinion, that left side should be sawed off of the concrete, that joint there, and redo the concrete and slope some of that in to catch that water that's coming out from the splash pad, and then pour an additional apron onto that so that you then have the rainwater that slopes away. But currently we're not catching all of the water that's coming from the splash pad items that are on the splash pad. So we have that mud mess down there. I know that mud coming into those filters and that stuff's not good. I'm not sure. We're kind of here to ask to see what the game plan was. Maybe, I know you guys addressed it and you've talked about it some, but we wanted to just voice our opinion that this thing's done and it looks professional, and when we bring people in from out of town or we come up there, it looks like it belongs there and it looks like it was done right. Unfortunately, it's not quite that way right now. Hopefully we can get it that way so that it is. And if everybody's aware of the mud that's being tracked in there and the stuff that's currently at. So just, we were here to ask if there was a game plan, or if that's open yet for what the game plan is, or where we're at with it.
Sure, I'll go with it. Which, we've been aware of this, I've been aware of this since day one. Like the morning of the grand opening, we were out there 2 hours prior, because if you guys remember, that water was ponding up onto that concrete going towards the mechanical room door. So we dug that out, put a small, well, the contractor did, put a small catch basin in there. We backfilled it, seeded it. About 30 minutes later, ribbon cutting ceremony had happened. But that alleviated that issue there. We have been down there, I don't know how many times, adjusting flows, trying to readjust the sprays. I've been on the phone with the engineering firm, and if we add more concrete, it has to continue to slope away from it. They do not want exterior surface water into that pad to keep all the mud and the silt and stuff out of it. That's the whole reason why that pad slopes down. We have the additional concrete that then slopes away from it.
Understand, but the pad that catches the water being dispensed by the splash pad
Right.
isn't catching all the water.
Okay. The only other option would be to turn down the flows tremendously, which I don't think we want to do that. There's been a lot of trial and error with it, almost daily. I have some material that's in. We have, the rest of it should be in this week. What we plan to do, we're gonna install 220 feet of it's like a grading system that'll butt up to the concrete on the north and south side of that existing concrete apron. And it'll all drain into that 6-inch storm line that's between the splash pad and the track. So it'll come off the edge of that concrete, butt up to that concrete, it's about 5 inches wide. We're gonna do it in-house, and we'll trench it out, and put this drainage system in there, and then the grass will just, the yard will just be butt up to that. So with that drainage system, it should catch any of that water as it leaves the concrete before it can make its way out into the yard.
To be honest with you, Corey, I still think there's not enough concrete there to catch the water that's there now. And again, in my opinion, it's a Band-Aid on a situation that's not quite right. But I do think it's relatively easy to rectify at this point. And, I don't know what the cost is versus the drainage. Doing all that versus sawing off that one edge of the concrete on the left-hand side as you're facing the splash pad to catch that so that the splash pad water is actually coming back in. And I don't know how much water, has there been any calculations? I don't know how much water is actually going out into the yard that would be treated, taken care of, but then go to the storm sewer instead of reclaimed back into the pumping station for the splash pad. One of the problems with the old pool is all the leaks and the water that was spent doing all that. And to me, you're kind of doing the same thing again. You're pumping all that water and it's going down to the city drain that could be refunneled and reused. So how do they factor in the rainwater that comes in just naturally on the splash pad area, surface area, that happens just naturally?
And it just goes down into the drain, into the holding tank, and gets treated, and it becomes part of the system.
So there wouldn't be that much more of a percentage of water that would come into that versus the percentage of water that's leaving the facility currently now, and then just going back out to a storm drain. That's my opinion on that.
Sure.
It is that. So, Jim, you have anything you want to add to that or anything?
Not really, just, I think everybody knows what the concerns are, the mud mess down there, and it's, kids are gonna be kids. I mean, you can't stop them from, and like Denny said, that one side is so narrow that,
Like some of the mud holes are another attraction at the splash pad, kind of thing. I stopped down today and looked at it. I have never seen it, I know me and Corey talked about it before you guys called me. We were on our way to Defiance and talked about the drainage and how we were gonna try to take a look at it. But, I think another thing was a fencing kind of thing to help deter the kid from, we mow, the guys were down there weed eating around it today and keeping everything off the splash pad, with blowers and stuff. They know not to get stuff down into the system and things like that. But, it does pull. We had that rain yesterday, and was pulling a little bit in some of the runoff. So we fired it up, watched it, and I don't think I think what we're doing now is a decent fix. Maybe we need to look at bigger options down the road. I was watching just the spray. We're slowly kind of creeping over the edges in some areas. But like I said, we turned down the pumps.
Can they not be re-aimed different direction? I honestly don't have no idea.
I think most of them
pointed
are
towards the
fixed.
middle or something. I mean, I've seen the water run off. I've had my kids
Some
out there.
can, but Eric, if you go to what I'm gonna call the north side towards the tracks,
Yeah.
okay? There's the one play item that the kids can dam the water up, but when you release that dam, it's got a little turn wheel, water wheel on the end of it, but that water wheel just wings it right out there. Then that goes towards the small drain that Corey was talking about they put in before they put in. But again, in my opinion, it's just taking care of the water issue that's being caused, that's overflowing from the splash pad, is a Band-Aid versus fixing it correctly. I would think the percentage of water that you would gather additionally from the rainwater by putting on the correct apron on that side would be quite minimal versus the cost that you're paying for that treated water that's not staying within the splash pad, going straight to the city sewer system.
I will say, I don't remember if Jim sent it or Charlie, were you in the Senate, the one that had like the 100-page code for pools and splash pads, and adding more concrete, the concrete still has to slope away, so even if you saw cut it and add concrete around the whole perimeter of it, it can't be angled towards the splash pad.
So,
But if you're on the side that Denny was just talking about towards the track, that is sloping in to a degree. But once you get up there to where it turns, then there's probably 4 inches of fall
On the
going
apron
back
or the splash pad itself?
on the apron.
On the
that
apron,
6-foot
yes.
apron. And, well, it's got like an apron this big, and then it's got another 6-foot on that side. If we did the same thing on the other side, take the short side that's there, tip it back to the,
I understand.
to recover the water, and then put the other 6 or 8 feet, whatever we want to put out there, so that people can set out there, let that slope away, the problems are solved.
yeah, that would be my opinion too. Eric, we went around to other splash pads, the Hicksville Community Fund Committee, when Betty kicked this all off with her donation, okay? We went around to other splash pads, and you know, you go as close to Defiance. The one I was the most impressed with was the one in Delphus. They don't have any of that issue. They got a lot bigger apron than what we have, and it's, you know, and eventually I would think the fund would like to, or anyone else, you know, if you had more concrete on that south side, you could put shade in, you could, you know, artificial umbrellas, you know, those types of things, and some more seating too for the people that are down there with the kids. We love the fact that the splash pad's getting used. It's great to go up there and see those kids. I will speak for myself. I want to take my grandkids up there. I love it, but I'm very disheartened by the fact that we have a mud mess on the outside of it that's consistent. We got roughly a ½ inch of rain in town last night, and that is a complete mud pit down there. And my opinion, putting a drainage or a French drain all the way in, it's a Band-Aid on the problem. And I still think if a study, really, if you looked at how much cost of water the village is spending that's going down the sewer drain, I don't know what that code is, Eric, but I would think that code's not so stringent that another 6 foot of apron makes a difference on that rainwater that comes in. I think in this area, what do we get roughly? I don't know how many inches of rain we typically get in a year in Hicksville, but it's not that much when you take over a 6 foot area. That's whatever the length of that is. What is a splash pad, Corey? Is it 60 foot or?
I don't know.
Okay. But if you take that surface area and put the math to it, it's not that much rainwater per year, that many gallons that's coming in versus the gallons that's being lost. Hopefully the splash pad gets used roughly 9 months out of the year, or at least 7.
Have you guys shot grade on that, Corey? The area, like if the area that Denny's talking about, just to the west, it almost looks like the concrete is lower than the top of your catch basin directly off, like if you're standing and looking at the splash pad. That catch basin directly off of the pavilion. So it seems like where a lot of the water's catching, your low point's actually not the catch basin. So in that scenario, I would think that that's a warranty issue. So
Right.
part of that is not a,
3 of those catch basins are too high.
Yeah, you can physically see the catch basins are higher than the ground.
and I would think that that would be something you'd go back on
Right.
Vernon Nagel, or I think, yeah, they're the ones that built it, right?
Right, when the basin out in the yard was installed, that was before the pool was X-nayed, so obviously it was put in to grade for what the deck should be for where the pool was supposed to go. I mean, that's how the whole thing was designed. All that concrete was put in and finished and done before the pool was scrapped.
Yeah, I guess the one I was talking about is actually in the concrete, though.
Right
Like
next
just,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah,
just,
we looked at
just
that.
off the pavilion.
Oh.
So the collection is
Oh,
actually
it's
closer
right.
to the track than it is. So that seems to be where like your pond starts where all the mud. So
Right,
something
goes
like
around the
that.
perimeter of it.
Yeah,
Right.
if you're able to get Vernon Noggle back in and rectify the issue.
100% of warranty, yes, we were looking at about if we could put a shorter ring on it.
Mhm.
But, you know, how short do you want to go, and you don't want it as a trip hazard for the kids either.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but if they're gonna come back and redo concrete, that would be the time to rectify any other issues, I would think.
I don't have anything else, gentlemen, from ladies.
Anybody have any questions for Denny or Taylor or Jim?
Is there a firm plan in place at this point in time? I guess that'd be my next.
Like I said, I think for
question I have.
now, I mean, we see what you're saying, you know, you add a little bit bigger surface area and collect some of that, you know, it's something we can surely take a look at, but for now, with what the guys are doing and, you know, at least get the mud situation kind of cleaned up around the area. I don't know if we can get something done yet this year. I mean, you're gonna shut down the splash pad the rest of the
So
summer,
Mike,
probably by the
if
time
you
you tear
put
things up.
in, you know, some type of drain, a French drain along that edge, that'll have to all be ripped out when you do the concrete again. So to me, it's a Band-Aid
Yeah.
instead of just rectifying and fixing it right at this point in time, so it's done.
Right. That would be something,
And
I mean,
then-
if you know, take a look at the whole, to me, those pumps were made for those things to actually shoot water out, you know, we're adjusting pumps so it wasn't shooting water out as far, and like I said, I was watching it with the pumps regulated today, and it still would splash and puddle and then slowly creep over that.
At the end of the day, it's just not enough catch area
Yeah.
for the water that we're using. You just need to catch, in my
Catch
opinion,
more
you
of-
just need to
catch
catch the
more of
water
the
that you're
treated water.
using. And don't let it run off the side and create a mess and create additional costs to the village in the money that you're treating and using, and then just letting it go down the sewer drain.
Right.
So, anyway,
All right.
appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you, everybody. The representatives from HBA, Hicksville Baseball Association, asked not to be here tonight. They changed the schedule. They asked to be here July 21st, right, Taylor? Yep. So next on the list is approval of June 16th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve this written.
Well, they say I was here and I wasn't here. I don't remember, it's been so long ago.
You were absent.
I was absent.
Pennsylvania.
I'll second his motion with that change.
Roll call.
Egley? Yes. Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
All right, approval of bills list in your packet.
Question. Metal fascia and cable ends, Buckeye Construction, where'd that go?
That went on the shelter house at the Little League Diamonds.
Good. Decked for a almost $1,500 tool drawer system. What's that?
That went in the new water department truck in the bed.
Okay. And Lisa Laker Interior Design, tools and keys. I didn't know a design place sold tools and keys.
It's hardware, it's hardware, like your hardware.
Hardware's the same.
No, it's Lisa Laker Interior Design.
That can be who does
It's
it.
the hardware store.
Two different entities.
You don't know that.
The hell I don't.
Did you set up Brad's LLC for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know when I send them bills, it's like hardware.
You could bill under
Okay. Medical supply, well, we don't have our guy here, but couldn't those be bought at our pharmacy?
You get some stuff there.
That's $800 worth of stuff. You can't buy it here?
I don't buy it. I just pay for it.
No. You answered for him, so I thought you knew the answer.
No, I don't.
Okay. That's something we could ask him. We ought to patronize the only pharmacy we've got.
He does buy stuff from the pharmacy.
But here's $800 if he didn't.
I mean, there may be
There's certain things.
possibilities that there's items that the pharmacy doesn't carry.
Carry.
Or got cheaper.
That's all I want, an answer.
You know, just offering alternative viewpoint.
And Water Solutions Unlimited for splash pad chemicals. Does the village pay for those chemicals?
100%.
Yeah.
That's it. They're all in questions and not many answers.
Then you motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Bassett,
Yep.
Martin,
Yes.
Egley. Yes. Bailey.
Yes.
All right, boards and commissions, no meetings. Council committee reports.
Insurance committee met today at 4 o'clock, and I'll have minutes by the next meeting. I volunteered to take the minutes, let the record show.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah.
All right, administrators report, Corey.
I don't have anything to add on what I've already presented here. You guys have any questions?
What's the cost to replace those meters?
We've had,
Depends on the size of the pipe, or like the 3-inch meter, 4-inch meter.
a lot of them are $150 for a 3/4 inch. Some of them are a few thousand, depending how big they are.
How long do
We-
they
we've-
last?
Since I've been here, we've budgeted about
Okay.
40,000.
10 years is what the guys told me when they had to replace one out of the school. They said the batteries, they look at a date code on the inside and they can find out that they're starting to 10 years when the batteries are starting to fail.
Okay.
And you look at it, there's no way to replace the batteries. It's all built internally on the
Yeah.
meter head.
So we've had to replace a handful of them already,
Okay. I
right
was
about
curious.
10 years.
But the average home, 3/4, $150, you say?
Yeah, 150 to 180-ish, yeah.
But this project's been going on for, back when Kent was here, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Or It's been coming to fruition, and them all changed out, so, long time. So. Any other questions for Corey? Rachel's up. Wake up, Rachel.
We have first reading of ordinance 2025-12 by caption only, authorizing the village administrator to enter into a real estate purchase agreement and any related documents for the acquisition of certain property owned by the Mark Milford Hicksville Joint Township Hospital District and declaring an emergency.
What number are you on, Rachel?
There's an
First
ordinance and
25-12.
resolution that have the same number.
2512.
It's a resolution.
One's an ordinance, one's a
Yeah,
resolution.
one's a resolution. Is this final or is there these changes?
I got it from Donnie Warner, who is the attorney. And he wrote it, he said to get it passed so that the minute they get back from vacation and they give us an answer, we sign on the dotted line.
Okay. Well, I remember reading part of that, but I didn't know if you wanted it done tonight in case there was changes. Okay, no, that's fine.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
That's a good one.
I'll second. This
13.
12.
No, 12.
Roll call.
And there's only 12 I got is the resolution.
Bailey,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Merton,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Beverly. To suspend the rules.
We have second and final reading of ordinance 2025-12 by caption only, authorizing the village administrator to enter into a real estate purchase agreement and any related documents for the acquisition of certain property owned by the Mark Milford Hicksville Joint Township Hospital District and declaring emergency.
So moved.
I have a million questions. Is there
I
a
have
chance
2 million
we can
questions.
go into executive session for
Property acquisition.
property acquisition? Yeah, I got way too many questions.
I'll second that.
What are you seconding, him? or
His
him?
motion.
Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yep.
Egley?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
This is to go into executive session?
No.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, well, I want to make sure what I'm voting yes on.
I didn't move to go to exec.
No.
Well, see, that's what I thought.
You didn't have a second motion.
I did.
No, he seconded Eric's
He
motion and
seconded
going
Eric's
in.
motion.
Okay. Well, that's why I didn't know if we were doing it now or doing it later.
Man, there are a bunch
Well,
of dangers.
I'm not voting on this till we get questions answered, so.
Same here.
Same.
Okay, well, if I was voting yes on executive session, that's what I'll vote.
So there's
Executive
no,
Change mine on.
That's fine, I thought there was confusion, but whatever.
All right, what do y'all want to do? Want to do it later, you want to do it now?
Do it later.
Yeah, we can get through the rest of the meeting.
That's what I was asking.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And we have first reading of ordinance 2025-13 by caption only to retain legal counsel from the city of Defiance, Ohio, in prosecuting all misdemeanor criminal and traffic cases coming before the Defiance Municipal Court and any appellate courts thereafter arising out of alleged violations of the traffic and criminal statutes of the state of Ohio and/or ordinances of the village of Hicksville and declaring an emergency.
Vote to suspend the rules.
Do we want to have a contract that long? Yeah, I mean, like, should we just do something for the rest of this year, like, through the rest of 2025?
No.
I'll be honest with you, you're gonna have a hard time
Finding somebody?
to do the civil work, because that criminal work's crap. You're gonna have a hard time finding somebody that's gonna wanna do both. So,
I knew we had ads out there, and
I'm just
not saying we
saying,
found anyone.
I'm just saying, it's a lot of moving and shaking over there, and you got different days, and
We still got to move forward with the criminal cases,
Yeah,
even though if we don't have
definitely support this.
after Rachel, takes her leave. So, like I said, this came at like last minute. I talked to these guys in Defiance. I said, would you be interested in doing anything? And they said, sure, let's wait till the middle of July and I'll get back to you. Well, then this showed up and I gave it to Cheryl and then she put it in here. So even though if we okay this, we might not go down that road, right? We might find a solicitor that's willing to do both village and civil.
do the other
And criminal
villages in the
matters.
county pay them to do their work too?
Defiance?
Yeah.
They don't.
I don't know. I know Corbett handles all the other village prosecutions, but I don't know if they pay him or that's just under
I was just curious
his
if it was
purview
comparable.
as prosecutor. I don't know.
Basically to put this in, to get it ahead of the situation, I guess. If we do find somebody to do both, we're fine, and if we don't, then we have one that does the civil.
Is this money up front?
I was gonna say, we pay him $15,000 at very.
Like I said,
start,
I
or is
haven't
it
even had
monthly?
time, they sent this, and we haven't had time to call them back and check on anything, so.
This was where I amended the agenda the first time because the packet was already done on Thursday.
Right.
When this came in. So it is brand new, fresh is what I know.
So you don't know if it's $15,000 up front or
I don't know.
15,000 divided by 12 months?
That I do not know.
No, I
Thursday was
really,
the last time I was here at work until today, so.
Attorneys will bill client annually shortly after the beginning of each calendar year in a clear and concise manner. Looks like it's one time.
What do you got, Nick?
And I can give them a call tomorrow and see
It's
if,
on page 3,
right.
right in the middle, billing of account.
Since we're still in the process of hiring a solicitor, how would they handle maybe our cases from now to that point in time, right? And then once, I don't know if Rachel's gonna handle any more criminal. We have a time limit.
Well,
I mean, she's still on payroll, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, I hate to-
She's still on, so.
I hate to talk about you with you here.
But if we're paying her to handle them until she leaves, I mean, why are we paying them
Why
too?
are-
Right, no, we're not. We
That's
wouldn't-
Let
we
Ken
wouldn't-
talk.
Yeah.
Why do we need them until she's actually
We
gone?
wouldn't pay them anything until that point in time. If we
Well, that'll
don't
change
have
their
that.
contract dates and some of
Right,
that.
right.
And
Well, that's what I was
it
getting
should
at.
affect the money.
Yeah.
Well, no, not if we push it back.
Well, they know we're looking for a solicitor. They just had presented this package in the case they would do it. So I would assume we would not give them any money until that point in time started.
Not until they send me a bill.
Right, right.
We
So,
need
that.
and we wouldn't do anything until we were without a solicitor to do the criminal
Well,
case.
What's Rachel's timeline for sticking around? What's your timeline for getting an attorney hired?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
counsel
but-
hired or
Well,
whatever?
no, we haven't talked about, I called her today to see if she, was planning on being here, and then she said, I don't want to be here too long, but I'll be here for a little while, so.
You'll be here for at least until the end of the month,
Yeah,
At
July,
least.
yeah.
maybe into September or October or something.
So we skipped August.
No, I was just saying, it affects.
But like I said, we wouldn't enter, unless we, like I said, we could find somebody that's gonna do both. I don't know.
Let's pass on this until we get more answers.
I will call them tomorrow and see how that would play out.
So hanging cases we've got now, we're gonna get handled?
Yeah, I was there today,
Okay.
handling, doing cases, yep.
I mean, I'm for this if we can't go any other route. I just didn't know what we were doing with you.
I just need a solid date
No.
that I can get everyone.
I was, I thought we'd have maybe some, we do have some people that have called in, and talked about it, but the two that have kind of checked in about it, said that's something they do not want to handle is the criminal cases. So that's when I, like I said, reached out to these guys. They're familiar with our caseloads, they're familiar with the police department and Mark and stuff, so. That's right. Hold off till next meeting?
We have first reading of resolution 2025-10 by caption only to authorize the village administrator to enter into a contract with United Edge Real Estate and Auction LLC to sell 3.0996 acres on Antwerp Drive and declaring acre.
Should we have the dollar amount listed in there? for
That's
celebrate?
on the, it's in the second, well, I didn't put the dollar amount in.
Yeah, I'm saying, because I've never seen anywhere to look it up online today. We'll see how much we sold it for.
Well, this one is actually is a CYA for me,
Yeah.
because it should have been done back when it was voted on, but it wasn't voted officially to hire these people to do the auction.
I never heard about it.
So it's old. I mean, it should have been done. Please just vote for it and get it through. So it's official. And then the second one is where we actually have an offer to purchase, which is resolution number 2025-12.
13.
Well, and here it's 12.
Right there.
Oh, resolution number 13.
It may have been.
13.
Yeah, this is 13.
Oh, we're in the
This is
13.
13 also.
So 10 and 13 kind of go hand in hand.
10,
Well, the tax levies,
10 is to sell the property.
yeah.
10 is
That's
the,
right.
10 is the
Realtor.
intent to sell.
For the realtor to be able to
13
sell it.
is-
Yeah. the 13
You need a
is the-
vote on the intent? You need a vote on 10?
Yes, please.
I move to do it.
Suspend the rules.
I'll second that.
Just call off and do it.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Roll call?
Bailey?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yep.
Egley?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
And second and final reading of resolution 2025-10 by caption only to authorize the village administrator to enter into a contract with United Edge Real Estate and Auction LLC to sell 3.0996 acres on Antwerp Drive and declaring emergency.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Beverly?
Yep.
Miller?
I have a reason for voting no. So I vote no.
No. Bassett?
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
You voted yes and don't know what you voted on. I don't want to hear it.
First reading of resolution 2025-12 by caption only to levy a tax for current operating expenses, directing the Defiance County Board of Elections to submit a ballot question to the electors and authorizing the levy for such purposes. And we have first reading of resolution 2025-13 by caption only to accept offer to purchase 3.0996 acres on Antwerp Drive by Keith and Sheila Etchen and declaring it emergency.
That's what you said you should have.
Should they have a dollar amount listed in there?
we decided no.
Oh, yeah? Why is that? You want to know?
Yeah, why not?
60,000.
It's on.
I mean, it's on the website.
The actual offer is written, some it is,
No.
60,000.
So it showed on there, online.
And we got a reserve of 50.
No.
I don't have that one either.
It's
You
in,
guys
it was
have-
in with this extra
It's
stuff.
on
The amendment.
It was
Wait,
with, yeah, it's with the amended agenda and your pay
It's
stub.
right on top. Yours was in your
Cory.
box.
Oh.
You ain't doing those legal
So we're
rounds.
voting on stuff people still have.
I move to suspend the rules.
Mommy.
I'll second that.
We have a first and second.
Oh, another.
They don't exist.
Wow.
Roll call.
Bailey, we're suspending the rules.
Yes.
Egley,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Beverly.
Yep.
Second and final reading of resolution 2025-12 by caption only to levy a tax for current, First, second and final reading of resolution 2025-13 by caption only to accept the offer to purchase 3.0986 acres on Antwerp Drive by Keith and Sheila Etchen and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bailey,
Yep.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yep.
Miller,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Egley.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel. Good job.
Just so
Gold
I,
star.
just so I understand, you're not selling Oak Park anymore.
No.
I think you should.
Well, I say, what's the reason for not selling?
I'm gonna start being a little more dicky when it comes to my committee calling meetings and we don't do what we recommend and we vote for. Because I can't.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I know there's
DICK.
an encroachment, but can't that get cleared up?
When I went to the courthouse, they don't even show the village of Hicksville as owners of the property.
Sure they do.
Yeah, it does.
We couldn't find it
I
anywhere.
found it. Took me about 10 seconds.
Show it to me sometime.
Okay. I'll go over there Wednesday.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, regardless, will
I'll
we
send
sell
it
it then? Clear up the encroachment?
I
To
think
clear it
yes.
up, we're gonna
Just
have to
leave it
we're gonna
alone.
have to we're gonna
Six.
split off enough to get around those buildings.
Mhm.
Basically just squaring it off, that's all we'd have to do. It costs
Yep.
us $400 for a survey. That's all we would have to do.
I mean, how
But
did-
if we don't wanna get rid of it now, we don't have to get rid of it.
Well, how did it sell however many years ago when Fraley bought that house? That's what irks me. Why wasn't that found then?
How long
When
have
it's
they
been
owned
on
it?
a survey for years.
He's been there, he said over 12 years.
Yeah,
So,
the survey I had in the
I mean,
office
he
goes
could go
back.
back, he could go back to whoever did his work. and
Well,
create
that's
a
what I
timeline.
mean. He's gonna have to deal with it eventually anyway.
Sure, yeah.
So why don't we just get it cleared up, sell the lot and be done?
I agree.
Well, he bought it from my brother, and my brother didn't have no, he didn't have to clear nothing up before he sold it, so why would Fraley?
Did he buy it with cash though?
Doesn't matter.
Well,
Oh, it
yeah,
does
still
matter.
should have showed up.
We've seen
Eh,
a change in the mapping system.
I don't know why there's such a big push, everybody's so excited, let's sell it, let's sell it. Hell, it's been that way since the 60s.
Well, he was getting tired of mowing it and cleaning up everybody's limbs.
We don't mow it.
No,
We just pick it
well,
up.
My brother always mowed it, and now everybody in Oak Park took their tree limbs and stuff
Oh.
down there, and then they had a little party at the end of the year.
I agree with Rob, and I was on that committee, and I still think we should sell it. I just think we cleared up the survey.
I
And
mean, it was on the recommendation of Cory that we sell it. That's why, we even.
And we looked at it, and we said we wanted to clarify some buildings that were right on the line or over the line, including a couple more sheds. that
Well,
could-
when it came
they
back
probably
to
do know what
council,
they put
didn't
up,
the
but
council
one was the
vote to
house.
not do it?
A quarter of the house,
We
that was the
voted to sell
issue.
both. It was in the same motion with Andrew Grafton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both at the same time.
But then we had some letters from the residents saying, you know, they thought they owned it or.
Yeah,
I don't care either way, I just don't
Yeah.
know.
They never said they owned it, but they were asking if we reevaluate the sell of it because of their.
Yeah, what are we gonna gain by changing anything?
Like I said, it doesn't bother me one bit, it's just, you know,
Yeah, if you wanna keep the mess, keep it.
pointless
Well, if we're
meeting.
paying to take care of it, then why don't we sell it?
We're not paying to take it.
Right now, all the owners are
We
taking.
have city workers that are going down and taking care of limbs, and now. you're
Since
saying-
when?
When they pile.
Oh, we have,
That,
did it every
that
year
means
I
we are
was
paying to
administrator.
maintain.
No.
Yes,
Second
we
mowing.
did.
Second
Got when my brother lived there.
They always
He's been
pile,
dead for 20-some years, but,
they always pile their sticks.
Yeah.
and then
And
burn
we
it in
cleaned
the
them
fall.
up. No, we went down and chipped it.
Okay,
Kicked it
I
up.
never went to a party down there, let's move on.
Moving on.
Well, they're gonna check to see, you said you can find the original deed on
This
this.
is a
right?
freaking
I found it.
circus.
You wanna look at it?
Well, I know what
It
you're
was shown it
doing.
was still in Oak Park Estates Limited.
Yeah, okay,
No.
we will look into that.
Cool.
All right, no, Mark's gone, there is nobody here. Police, fire, EMS? Fisher, you got anything? Nope. Beth?
That's right.
No. Okay. Fund status report. Carol?
We also have the June income tax and utility collections, the SMTA Senate Board of Franchise fees. I put in the purchase order report. And I wanted to let you know that I personally and press reported. It's over.
Thank you.
Fine.
Thank you.
Wow, shade under a decade too.
On 3 years.
Any question for Cheryl? Sort of report, my turn. Speaking of bankrupt, we're also looking at, Corey's been working with the surveyor there for the industrial park. Keller, Michael Wall called here about 2 weeks ago. Brian's still very interested in building. Corey's been working on getting the road moved and then the survey done with the road and everything. So I know Michael was reaching out to him, but the surveyors were not getting back to us real quick. So we put Michael Wall on. They recommended that surveyor and stuff. So I asked Michael to check in. So I think an email here, I don't know if you got it, said that they were supposed to work on it this week. So still moving forward with the Keller property. And the Verizon Tower. Just real quick, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July break. Summer concert series. There's also Ladies Night this coming Thursday. Starts about 5 o'clock. Concert starts at 5:30. There's some businesses open for people to shop in later in the evening. Dave Bussing is performing at the Huber Patio free of charge. On this coming Thursday night, he's performing at 5:30. So if you want to come up and hang out, and see some music, eat some food, please do so, and check out some of the shops that are open. I don't know if I said this at our last meeting, but the 150th committee got together. We had such a good turnout, of course, with that. They're going to plan on doing something next year again, sort of some type of festival in the community. 151, but the country turns 200. Everclear. Yeah. But
I'll get a hold of my contacts in Kentucky and see if we can.
we're going to plan on doing that again next year. I want to congratulate and thank Abby Franz. I think her last day is coming up here. She's moving on to her nursing career. Yep, and so we want to thank her for her services with the EMS department. She's also, I think, going to stay on part-time, but she's been a good asset for our department, and good luck to her nursing career. We're going to do a special meeting because of the levy ordinance that we read for the first time tonight. We have to have that wrapped up by the end of July, I believe, so we're looking at maybe doing a special council meeting July 17th to reread that ordinance and take a look at that. The final read would be on the 21st, right? Okay. I got a resolution from the House of Representatives celebrating or congratulating us on our 150th anniversary, but it came from Roy Kloppenstein, signed by Matt Hoffman. He's the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Roy, and the Clerk of the House, Bradley Young. So I want to thank them for giving us a resolution. I've got several of them hanging out in the office there for stuff, so.
Okay, back up just a second.
Yep.
What time's the special meeting?
Usually what, 6? Just do it at 6 o'clock.
And were you gonna handle the second issue?
What?
Thursday, July 17th.
Oh, they're coming till August now.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, no, that's fine.
Yeah, they
So 6
asked
o'clock.
to get somebody else want to be here, but they can't come until August. They want to get some more paperwork around planning, so that's all I have.
Can't tell. Well, we can talk about it in executive session.
Property development, so, is there a motion
I'd like to
for
tell.
executive session?
Thought we did it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah,
Made
Yeah,
and
I'll
seconded.
still do that
Well,
motion.
going to
I
good.
think we're all good together, so.
At this time, we'll adjourn from regular council and go into executive.
From day
Well,
one,
the technology
Michelle would
meeting's
call
over,
every
so
fall.
anybody here wants to.
Anybody have
You
anything?
guys gotta come down for all those limbs up for the crop. Him. The other plowed up and this and
Meeting's
that.
adjourned.